And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to now 500,000 subscribers. Literally, just in the last 24 hours, we have taken in over 5,500 new subscribers. So do me a favor, whatever we're doing, it's working. Hit subscribe, watch, keep the comments coming, and share with a friend, because the stupidity, it's just, again, not stopping. Let's talk about stupidity. Yesterday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell stated that inflation will most likely increase and our economy will suffer. Will suffer because of Trump's new tariffs. Trump, of course, wasn't too happy about that. And so he posted this morning at 6 a.m. calling for Powell's termination. In it, he writes, "The ECB is expected to cut interest rates for the 7th time, and yet, too late, Jerome Powell of the Fed, who is always too late and wrong, of course, all caps, yesterday issued a report which was another and typical complete mess. Oil prices are down, groceries, even eggs are down, and the USA is getting rich on tariffs. Too late should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough." Let me be very clear. Trump does not have the right to terminate Jerome Powell. The Fed is supposed to be outside of the control of the executive branch. Meanwhile, Trump's post, of course, is in reaction to Jerome Powell's speech yesterday at the Economic Club of Chicago, all right, where he literally came out and he warned Americans of the effects that the Trump tariffs are going to have on all of us. He also, of course, spoke about how the Fed will not be influenced by Trump or by politics. Play that clip.
That we're monitoring carefully. Generally speaking, Fed independence is very widely understood and supported in Washington, in Congress, where it really matters. And, the point is we can make our decisions, and we will only make our decisions based on our best thinking, based on our best analysis of the data about what is the way to achieve our dual mandate goals as we can to best serve the American people. That's the only thing we're ever going to do. We're never going to be influenced by any political pressure. People can say whatever they want. That's fine. That's not a problem. But we will do what we do strictly without consideration of political or any other extraneous factors.
And by the way, he deserves that applause because they're not supposed to be concerned about political parties or ideology. He's supposed to do what he believes is right. Powell then goes on and says that the tariff increases will affect our economy greatly. Play the clip.
The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
Yeah, something that just about 27 out of 29 top U.S. economists have said the exact same thing. He also goes on and he makes a reference, this was great, to Ferris Bueller, to the movie. Play the clip.
As that great Chicagoan Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance.
Yeah, so true, right? Meanwhile, his comment, of course, was in reaction to this clip from the movie that has gone viral, literally gone viral after Trump announced the tariffs earlier this month. Play the clip.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? The tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
Anyone? Bueller? I mean, for God's sakes, just take a look at that clip, Mr. President, and it should already be guiding you on where these tariffs should be going. Now, meanwhile, Powell speaks about how we don't really have a modern day example to compare all of this to. Remember, the last time we had a situation like this was the Great Depression. Play the clip.
It's so. Let me just agree that what comes back very strongly, and everyone will understand this. These are very fundamental changes in, long held in some cases policies in the United States, and there's not any real experience. I mean, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs were actually not this large, and they were 95 years ago, so there isn't a modern experience of how to think about this. And businesses and households are saying in surveys that they are experiencing incredibly high uncertainty. There's a lot of research, some of it from the Fed, showing that does lead to businesses and households stepping back from decisions, which of course makes common sense. And you hope that that's something that you go through a phase, and then you know what things become more certain, and therefore people can resume normal economic activities given their understanding of what is the new normal. I mean, your question really is, what if the uncertainty remains high? I think that's a difficult environment. I think people's expected rates of return would have to be higher. I think people that would weigh on, to me, investment just in general. If the United States were to become a jurisdiction where risks are just structurally higher going forward, that would make us less attractive as a jurisdiction. We don't know that at this point, but I think that would be the effect.
It's a really good summation, right? Meanwhile, Powell also warns. He warns that growth has slowed this quarter, which is really bad for our economy. Play the clip.
The initial reading on first quarter GDP in a couple of weeks, the data we have in hand so far suggests that growth has slowed in the first quarter of this year from last year's solid pace. Despite strong motor vehicle sales, overall consumer spending appears to have grown modestly. In addition, strong imports during the first quarter, reflecting attempts by businesses to get ahead of potential tariffs, are expected to weigh on GDP growth.
Meanwhile, he goes on and says that there's likely to be a rise in inflation. How many times have we heard Trump turn around and blame the Biden administration? Oh, look at the inflation, look at the inflation. We're talking about the Fed chair. We're talking about Jerome Powell telling Americans that there will likely be a rise in inflation. Play the clip.
Tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation. The inflationary effects could also be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully to prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
You can't make this stuff up. And they'll turn around and once again blame the Biden administration. No, Mr. President, this is your economy. So what, of course, do you do when you don't have the facts on your side, when you can't dazzle them with your brilliance? What does this administration do? They baffle you with their bullshit. And to baffle you, they bring out the chief bullshit artist himself, Kevin McCarthy. So literally, they go out to try to mitigate the Fed chair Jerome Powell's statements. And they send out, for example, Kevin McCarthy, who of course goes on to Fox, Laura Ingraham, about Powell's statement. Listen to what this genius has to say. Play the clip.
Kevin, I want to talk about what Jerome Powell did today. He essentially came out and said that these tariffs, which the Democrats are going to seize on, obviously, that the tariffs are going to, likely to create some type of recession, and that will hurt U.S. growth forecasts going forward, which, I mean, obviously the Trump administration thinks the exact opposite. about how these tariffs will work. But of course, that sent the market way down. And you can kind of see this little game playing out between Powell and the Trump administration. Do you think the Trump administration needs to come out in a full-throated manner and refute what the Fed chair said today about an issue that is still number one on the minds of all voters now and will be on the midterms?
Well, what he said is hurting the economy. The market reacts to what he said. Now, he only has a short amount of time left in this job, and I think there's some excellent people who can take this job going forward. But remember what President Trump has already done if you want to look at pure economics. He's getting people to invest billions of dollars in America because of his policies. That's only going to grow the economy. The Fed chair should be working for America, not scaring America. And this is really out of the playbook of the Democrats. There's two major issues of why President Trump won: securing the border and economics. And they're trying to undercut those two fundamental issues, so the administration should be very bold and keep laying out exactly what they're doing. So as soon as we get an agreement where I'm watching negotiating with Japan and others, this will be opening up markets that have been closed for decades to American products. Our markets are open up to them. Why is it wrong that we expect to be treated the same as we treat them?
Yeah, Powell tiptoed right up to politics today, in my view. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Oh, yes, yes. Listen, let me give you a little comparison side by side to the genius that you just saw there of Kevin McCarthy, right? Cal State grad, obtained his bachelor's of science in marketing in 1989. Now you go on, you compare that to Jerome Powell, went to Princeton. All right, his degree is in economics, then decided he wanted to go to law school. So he went to Georgetown Law. And then after that was one of the founding partners of the Carlyle Group, right? And while he was there smashing numbers, Carlyle Group, one of the biggest funds in the world, Kevin McCarthy was fighting seasonal fires in Kern County with the fire department. And here he is trying to talk economics, trying to talk tariffs with somebody who lived the life. I'm not knocking firefighters. Please don't take that for a quick second. I respect the fact that he did it, but stay in your lane. All right. I don't want to hear, for example, my accountant talking about medical issues. I don't want to hear my school teacher, right, talking about, I don't know, business management. I just don't want to. I don't want to hear my dentist talking about my feet. This is so stupid. When you send somebody out there, send an economist out there. Better off for the first time, send somebody even like Lutnick. Let Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce, a guy who was running Cantor Fitzgerald, put somebody next to the guy who could actually legitimately argue the point. Because here's what we all know, this tariff bullshit, it's not working. And this bullshit story about billions, if not trillions, according to Trump, it's $7 trillion that he has committed of investment into this country. I'd like to see the $7 trillion. I'd like to see, where's the money? Show me the money. Let's play that clip as well, right? Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Meanwhile, can't have bullshit out there without bullshit Barbie, Karoline Leavitt. She goes on Fox to talk about trade deals because the 27-year-old knows all about it. Play the clip.
Do we have an update? I know that there was discussions today regarding trade and tariffs with Japan. I expect that probably a lot of countries are going to be signing deals in the days and weeks ahead. Can you update us?
I don't have an update for you. I actually just left a dinner with the president and Patty Morin and some great faith leaders in celebration of Holy Week. So I haven't checked in with our Secretary of Treasury or Jamison Greer, our United States Trade Ambassador, yet. However, I did run into the Secretary of Treasury, and he told me the meetings were productive and they were moving along, and they were here for quite some time. And the president met directly with one of the trade representatives from Japan because the president wants to be involved in these negotiations and these talks. And I think it speaks volumes about the number of countries we have seen come to the table, reaching out to this administration to cut deals. It's because the entire world knows they need to do business with the United States of America. And China knows that too, Sean. And as President Trump directed me to say yesterday, it remains true tonight. The ball is in China's court. They need to do business with the United States. They need the best thing on the face of the planet, and that is the American consumer. And we are the best place in the world to do business. And the rest of the world knows that, and that's why Japan was here today to negotiate a trade deal.
I swear on my life, I feel like I'm watching QVC every time she comes up. Look, it's why I turn around and I say, share this. Share this with a friend. Make sure they join our community. Keep the comments coming. Subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.